the heels of a survey posted on Facebook asking, should Obama be killed? One right-wing columnist has floated the idea of a military coup to unseat the president, as if it were not madness, incitement, un-American, disloyal, totalitarian, and treasonous. There is a remote, although gaining possibility. America's military will intervene as a last resort to resolve the Obama problem. Don't dismiss it as unrealistic. Our third story in the countdown, more inflammatory and increasingly violent rhetoric and treasonous rhetoric from the right. In a column titled, Obama Risks a Domestic Military Intervention, John L. Perry of the website Newsmax writes as well, military intervention is what Obama's exponentially accelerating agenda for fundamental change toward a Marxist state is inviting upon America. A coup is not an ideal option, but Obama's radical ideal is not acceptable or reversible. Perry, of course, insisting he's only describing what may be afoot and not actually advocating a military intervention. But then bullet points reasons why the military would stage such a coup and proposes this twisted fantasy. Imagine a bloodless coup to restore and defend the Constitution, by overthrowing it, through an interim administration that would do the serious business of governing and defending the nation by destroying the nation. Skilled, military-trained nation builders would replace accountability-challenged radical left commissars. After scrubbing the column from its website, Newsmax now claims Mr. Perry has no official relationship with Newsmax other than as an unpaid blogger. Curious, considering Mr. Perry's byline at the bottom of his column, John L. Perry is a regular columnist for Newsmax.com. And in case that isn't clear, TPM reports Perry has been a regular columnist for Newsmax since 1999. This, as the fallout continues over that poll from Facebook, it continues. The Secret Service is now investigating the threat, and the developer of the online application that was used to create the survey has come forward, telling Politico there is definitely in this culture of paranoia and fear, and I think both sides are reacting in extreme ways. People carrying guns to town hall meetings, that's scary. People losing their cool over an internet poll like this, that doesn't calm the situation. Posting such a poll cools and calms the situation? Another idiot. Joining me now, the Washington editor for The Nation, Chris Hayes. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Please tell me that even the Newsmax crowd, with its Ann Coulter email alerts and its ads for free handguns, Millionaire Patriot arms and trains you, even these people have to repudiate the premise of a military overthrow of a United States government.
Yeah, well, I think if there's a silver lining in this little story, it's the fact that they did take it down from the website. So right, maybe there are, and it was a bloodless coup. One should note that it was a bloodless coup. It was very gentlemanly what he proposed. But no, I mean, I think, look, I think it is a taboo, and rightfully so. This is not the sort of thing that I think is, should be in the normal course of our political discussions about a path forward, even amongst genuine ideologues. So I think that it was actually a good sign they took it down.
Okay, well, you're being very generous. Media Matters reported that the Republican National Committee provides financial support to Newsmax by using their email listservs. When do we hear Michael Steele denounce this column, or anybody else with supposed authority, somebody driving the car?
Well, that's not going to happen. And this is actually a game that the right plays really well, which is they're constantly finding some commenter on Daily Kos who says something. I mean, remember that Move On, Move On has an open contest, and someone sends in a video of, I think 2,000 videos, and there was some momentary Hitler image. And that became a national news story for a week, in which you had these calls for Democrats to denounce Move On, despite the fact they had no control of the content. I mean, Newsmax is fringy and out there, but it's part of the right-wing noise machine. I mean, in good standing. There's all sorts of big-time right-wingers who write for it and are associated with it. Like you said, it's sort of enmeshed in a business sense of the RNC. And, fair's fair. I mean, if that's the way that, if that's the standard that's going to be applied, in which you constantly have to denounce the ideologues saying crazy things to your right or your left, well, then Michael Steele should step up to the plate.
By the way, it sounded like they're coming in for you right now. Was there some sort of break-in there? Is Burt Lancaster there dressed up in his 7 days or 7 days?
The door is barred.
Is there a secondary trick here? The real hope of provocation like this, not that some general might be, a reincarnation of Burt Lancaster, but just or the character he played. No offense to Burt Lancaster, but just that the more dangerous the fantasy gets, the more the possibility is that the government has to look into it, as in this Facebook thing, and then they can use the response as something to campaign against the Democrats with in the midterms.
Oh, I don't know. Who knows? It strikes me that it's probably not that thought out. I mean, look, there is, I was listening recently to Taylor Branch talking about this book that he just did in which he talked to the Clintons, and it was just a reminder that there really was this period of genuine mass, well, not mass, but an actual movement of violent sort of insurrection in the country during the Clinton years. It was provoked at a time that was far less intense and sort of under stress as the moment we find ourselves in right now. And I tend to be a free speech absolutist about all this, and I just sort of continue to that. They could publish whatever they want. At the same time, I think it's easy it's disconcerting how easily we've forgotten that militia moment in American history and the sort of edging towards that kind of rhetoric that we're seeing now.
Yeah. Well, if there is another Timothy McVeigh, he will get his idea from something like this, if not from this. Chris Hayes of The Nation, great thanks as always, and keep fighting that fight as they come through your door there.
Best wishes to your dad, Keith.
Thank you very much, sir.